Hey guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Today we're going to talk about living like a Filipino. Now, a lot of guys when they come over here, they say, well, I'm going to live like a Filipino. And some might find it harder than what they think because there's different types of living like a Filipino. There's traditional style, which is like the old style, okay? It's living in a bamboo hut, maybe with the front of the hut is raised up in the air. They still have a few of those houses, those types of houses around out in the provinces. And then they have the open concept type of home, which is kind of a traditional style home too. Some of those houses are very beautiful, actually. If you want to see one of those, you can watch Becoming Filipino, and he lives in one of those houses. He actually makes a living off of living like a Filipino, and it's quite interesting. I usually don't push too many channels, but I've watched this guy over the years, and he's a young guy, and he makes about 250,000 US per year or more. Because actually those, the things on Social Blade that show how much you make are actually off a little bit, guys, by as much as a third to a half. So I would say that he's probably off a little bit on that. Maybe it's caught up on him because he's been around for quite a while, but usually they're off. They're skewed quite a lot. But he makes about 250,000 a year or more, living like a Filipino, But he lives like a very wealthy Filipino, and he lives quite interesting. He lives with solar. He has solar panels there. He's kind of like a surfer dude, and he has surfing right out in his backyard, So it's really nice the way he lives, and he is more of like a travel channel kind of, because he shows different places and travels quite a lot. And I'm not sure if it's his family that lives in his house or whatever. I haven't watched his channel enough to learn about that, or whether it's just a bunch of friends or whatever. But he definitely lives an interesting life. If you want to see what a traditional style home, look at the house that he lives in. Very, very nice. The other thing is, some people live in cabana homes here. Not a lot. Some Filipinos do, and they're starting to catch on to that more because they're very reasonable, and you just have to replace the roof about every 4 or 5 years. Okay, and Americans can do that too. For about $1,400 to $1,600, you can get yourself a nice cabana home, and you can get them built big or small, guys. And they for the price that you're paying, even if you'd have a new house every 5 years, just tear that house down or burn it down and build another one, and they're beautiful little homes. But I would say that they last about 15 years, the regular structure, but the roofs have to be replaced. So I would say about every 10 to 15 years, you probably got to replace the whole thing. You do have problems with termites sometimes. So that's living, like traditional style. But the regular style of living here in the Philippines is like living like in my type of home that I've showed in some of my videos. That's not traditional, that's just regular Filipino style. And then there's the poverty-stricken style, which they live like maybe in a house. Like, let me see if you can see it down there. It has like a tin roof on it. That's more for people that are in extreme poverty. Most people today, they live in a cement style home here. And the cement style homes are actually really, really nice here. Our bedroom is actually 2 bedrooms because the bedroom is so big. The other homes here, they're very tiny. I've also showed those, very beautiful, very, very beautiful homes. And you can put AC in them. You can also put AC in the traditional cabana style homes, but the open concept homes that Becoming Filipino lives in gets breezes off the ocean, so it stays cool that way. But it's not as cool as AC, obviously. And then you have the bug issue too. So you'd have to throw like some sort of netting over you at night if you sleep in a hammock or whatever. They also have bedrooms and storage areas and offices, and you can have whatever you want built into them. And they're beautiful homes. The other part of living like a Filipino is foods. Now, a lot of Americans are going to have a hard time, or not Americans, not just Americans, Westerners, I should say. A lot of Westerners that come over here are going to have a problem living with the foods that they have over here. Dried fish. They have a lot of smelly foods here. They have a lot of different foods here. A lot of different vegetables here. A lot of things that we haven't seen here that we're not used to. okay? And it's hard switching over to those foods for many, many Westerners, especially for me. I don't eat any foods that I didn't eat when I was a kid unless I see it getting prepared and I know what's going in it and I know it's regular foods that are going into it. Because some Filipino foods have different strange things that go into it, and it's just kind of weird watching that. I think it was Prairie Mark says he eats eggs or something that have ampalaya in it, I believe it is. You know, and there's a few other people that have gotten used to it. And, you know, that's great if you can get used to it. For me, though, I have a hard time getting used to it. So, you know, we grow a lot of foods outside our house. We grow pineapple, we grow Filipino peppers, the little tiny red peppers, and those actually grow wild after a while. The other part about living Filipino is this, okay? And a lot of people don't know this. Some Filipinos out in the provinces sleep on the floor. Some sleep on a bamboo bed with no mattress, just a couple pillows and maybe a sheet or something to pull over them, or a blanket or whatever. And that's all. That's what they use for beds, you know. And it's a little bit hard for a Westerner to get used to that. So most Westerners are not going to give up their mattresses, and a lot of Westerners don't want to give up their AC. Those two things are very difficult to give up unless you're. I mean, you can live with a fan over here, but it's not the same as AC. And some areas are much hotter than others. I'm lucky. I live about 400 feet up in the air. I could shut the AC off at night in the summer. It would get a little bit hot, you know, but if I had a fan or something, I'd be okay. I could live with it. But some people, they just can't live with that, you know. And the other thing about living like a Filipino is this. There's rich Filipinos, there's middle-class Filipinos, and there's poor Filipinos. And like I said, some of the open concept homes, some wealthy people live in those too, because they're very beautiful homes and they're on the beach and they adjust to that. And they like living like that. And like I said, they are beautiful homes. They're very family friendly, but the sides are open. And it's not something that many Westerners would grow accustomed to because of the openness of people walking by and seeing everything that you're doing in your house. It also leaves you kind of open to theft, although there is a portion that can be locked up and everything. The cabana style home, you have the same issue. It's easier to break into unless you have somebody at the house all the time. You have to consider these things unless you put a giant wall around your house or something like that and protect your home. You know, it leaves yourself open to getting broken into out in the provinces. Not that it's going to happen a lot, but it does leave yourself open. You may, if you decide to do something where you want to live in a cabana or something like that, you may want to build a small shed or something that you can lock up and put all your valuables and stuff in, you know, just to keep your things safe. Just FYI. The other thing is, they have condos, places like that to live, and that's not really regular Filipino living. You know, it's more Western style. You can live in the city. Some of these condos you can rent for anywhere from $200 to probably $800 a month or whatever, or maybe even more for something like in Trump Tower or something. Trump Tower is in Manila, you know, and you can live in Trump Tower for about $1,000 or $1,200 for a studio. And a lot of people find that amazing that you can live in Trump Tower for about $1,000 to $1,200 a month. But I was looking online, and I actually found a couple for that price on there. I don't know if they're still on there or if people have grabbed them, but now that Americans are seeing that they can grab beautiful condos in the city for that price, they're coming over here and they're grabbing up some of those, you know, and it's probably going to drive the prices up. As soon as the gates open here, I think all that stuff's going to be gone. But some of the Americans that are living here now have heard that they can live up in Manila in a beautiful place for that price. And some of these guys are living on, like, I think one of the guys said he was living on $3,600 US. And he was planning on going up and looking around Trump Towers to see what he could get up there, or, you know, in some of the more expensive areas, and move up there so he could be near a mall, because he's not that healthy, and he says it would probably be better for him to live up there than live out in the provinces. And I told him, I said, yeah, you're probably better off getting out of the provinces and getting closer to a hospital or something like that. You know, I don't know what they have for hospital facilities right around that area, but he said he was going to look around that area to see what they have. So if you guys come over here and you're looking to live Filipino. Like I said, there's different ways, and you may want to consider all those different ways of living. Traditional, it's very difficult living traditional Filipino style. Very difficult. For a Westerner coming over here, very difficult living like that, because you can have fans and stuff like that, but you won't have air conditioners unless you have like a room inside your open concept home or your cabana. It's very difficult. And also you're going to have more insects. You're going to have more ants, and you're going to have more lizards coming through your house living that way. You're going to see them more often. You're going to see, you can't keep them outside of your house. It's almost impossible. And you're also going to open yourself up to having more termites. And your home can get damaged, and you might have to spray for insects, and it's, that spray causes cancer, things like that. And people here, when they notice something like that, like a Filipino notices that they have termites, they spray with some awful stuff, and it stinks up the whole area, and it's toxic. So be careful, guys, because when mine started getting eaten by termites here, the guy come out and he bombed the neighborhood practically, because the smell was everywhere in the neighborhood, that toxic smell that they use to kill the termites, and it's not good for you. It's just not good for you. But anyway, guys, I want to put that out there today, because I've had people telling me, they want to live like a Filipino. Well, living like a Filipino has its issues too, and what you want to do is you want to have a mixture of both, like myself. And my house is like I said, it's a mix of both. We eat at a traditional table, as you can see, when we eat. We also have the Western style table inside the house too, where we eat. Sometimes we eat supper, and we have all the Western things inside. We have a one of those air ovens, I think they call it. It's like round, and it heats up your chicken or your food or whatever. We have a toaster oven. We have a microwave. We have 2 refrigerators. So we have a lot of Western goods in our home, and yet we still live kind of like Filipino. We have a lot of Filipino traditions in our house. Sometimes the kids come out here and they have a boodle fight, with the other families and stuff like that. And I told them to be a little bit more careful of that because of COVID, and I just don't think it's safe right now during these tough times. But anyway, guys, I want to throw that out there. We're gonna have more live shows coming up soon, and I'm gonna be sending those out on the community thing, so you'll get that. Thanks, guys. God bless.